in the room and then on Zoom if we have time.
Can you close that? Caroline, am I good?
You are good. Go ahead.
So excited for those 11 players in that locker room. They played this whole series with so much heart, energy, and effort. And, you know, someone probably would have called us crazy if you would have told us as the series started that we could hold that high-power offensive team 4 times in 5 games, 80 or less. And you know, 35 or 36 games, we just in this series held them to the 3 lowest scoring totals in their last 35 or 36 games on the season. Again, just incredible defensive effort, energy, passion by our players. And after losing some composure and their disruption bothering us tonight, to regroup in the fourth quarter and have a fourth quarter to hold that high-power offense to 5 points, you just see how badly that group wants to keep playing with each other. All about those 11. All about those 11.
Alexa, go ahead.
Hi, Curt. We heard from Dewana about how much that Game 4 victory was huge in the team's confidence, and also just throughout the playoffs, being able to play more loose and not as uptight was huge in getting to the point where you are now. From your perspective, how did you see that shift, and what did it take for the team to finally find the mojo and confidence again?
Yeah, I think more than anything offensively, Alexa, that it gave us some confidence that we could try to be messy at the defensive end and try to keep them out of rhythm. But offensively, we could find stretches of success, and the whole game didn't need to look messy. And we just had such a great night in the paint. So, philosophically, preparation is power. And our number one pillar in our acronym, the P, is for preparation. And we talked about our defense, and I think there was a lot of confidence as the series went along that we could find ways to make it messy, that we could find stretches to disrupt them. But we hadn't found a real confidence at the offensive end. So Game 4 gave us a boatload of confidence that we could win and find, good offense. Now, tonight, wow, their physicality, their aggressiveness at the point of attack really had us off balance most of the night. But when we needed it and our backs were against the wall and that game could have quickly been 20, all said and turned. And the altercation and getting the players to be able to come over to the bench, take a deep breath, and know that it was going to be a 2-possession game coming out of that, and looked up, and there was just under 4 minutes to go, going, there's all the time in the world left. And I just think they took a deep breath at that moment and said, we have not been good tonight offensively, and it's a 2-possession game. And we outplayed them that last 4 minutes.
To the left here.
Coach, I know it's pretty impossible to put things in perspective when you have another series to go, but Dallas took you to the 3-game limit in the first series. Now you've gone to Game 5, and then going over the last few years, you've had a lot of times where you've been able to get close or get to the point and not been able to finish. So at this point, with where the team is, contracts and everything, does it feel like you're just kind of, as Dewana said, playing the game as loose as you can be and not worrying about anything else as much?
Yeah, again, and DB's never going to take credit, but what she's done in the locker room in the last few days has really, really galvanized those players. And, understanding. And they're not afraid to talk about our championship window, and windows close and windows open. And we've had a window open, and we've been so damn consistent, but we haven't been able to, lift that trophy. And so they know about these windows. And so they're like, what do we have to lose? This is our window. Let's go out and play free. But Dewana in our locker room over the last half a week has been so important. So important. It's interesting, right? We've now played 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row, we've knocked out Chicago twice, and they knocked us out, and they'll take their championship for sure. It won't mean anything if we can't find a way to the finish line. But all 3 series is the lower seed won. It's an interesting dynamic 3 years in a row. And I do want to get on the record for this. Okay? We've knocked Candace Parker out of the playoffs 3 out of the last 4 years. She is an incredible all-time great in this league. But I hope someone writes the combination of JJ, AT, and Bree Jones have knocked her out 3 out of the last 4 years. I hope that post group gets credit for what they do night in and night out for us. I really hope our post game gets the credit they deserve.
Go ahead.
Hey, Coach. So you spoke to the activity at the level, at the point of attack, and specifically at the point of the screen. I feel like the point of the screen was one of the more important dynamics of the series, outside of the paint, of course. Speaking to that, the guard play was one of the most important matchups between your guards and their guards. Your guards only had 18 turnovers for this series. Again, speaking to the pressure that the Sky bring, that's impressive. I just wanted to get your thoughts and insight on that, and specifically, the play of Heidemann and Williams.
Yeah, I mean, Natisha was huge for us tonight, being able to make some shots and navigate some of her floaters and timely baskets when we really needed it. You saw Courtney Williams get her mojo here the last, 2 games and be the Courtney Williams that we really needed. Back-breaking basket to go up 2 possessions that give us a 5-point lead late. They handled the best we can. We weren't always very good. We needed to ghost more. We needed to slip more. We needed to, handle some of their aggression tonight. But, when you noticed it, it put the ball in our post players' hands, and our post players had a bunch of turnovers tonight. So, again, we've got to keep our turnovers low, and I'm just, so happy for that unit and our guards that, we found some rhythm here late in this series, and excited to be back in the championship series.
Coach, you were correct from your pregame statement that whoever won the points in the paint would win the series, and you guys won, I believe, 36-26 on that front. It seems like the bigger story was what you did in the fourth quarter to shut them down. I think they had 13 misses. You kept them to a lot of mid-range shots. You didn't give up many in the paint, and you didn't give a lot of opportunities from 3. What was the magic formula behind that?
Yeah, I thought it was our help side, what we call our congestion and rotations behind to try to guard the paint. I think Chicago will tell you that they settled for some shots and they got tight and they didn't go in. There's certainly shots that they're capable of making. So, but it was, again, our rotations. We were flying around behind the basketball and tried to congest the paint as much as we possibly could. They were number 1 in the league in points in the paint in the regular season, over 40 a game. And we did a really good job for most of the series and kept them well under that. Again tonight, 26. That's like 16 points less than their average in the paint. So, and again, we held them in the 30% shooting. They shot 48%, number 1 in the league from the floor this season. And against us in the regular season, they shot 55% from the floor. In this series, we found after really searching, we found a defensive formula that started to work against them.
Go Annie next.
Mental fortitude has been something I've asked a lot about during this series, and the Sky having, so many players, their entire team almost, with the championship experience that played in a lot. And tonight it was your team who, in the final minutes, had the mental fortitude to close out the game. What impressed you most about their takeover there mentally?
Yeah, people want to try to tag this group when it comes easy. Connecticut's really special. It's when it's hard, can Connecticut win the hard? And tonight we won the hard. We were backs against the wall. There was a few plays probably for the game to break open, and they just refused to give in, and they had that grit and determination, which is what we're built on. We're just built that way. We have a lot of those players. I don't know how I've acquired that, I'm drawn to that grit, but they just stuck with it, and they were going to go down fighting, and then the tide turned, and momentum is so hard to explain in the game of basketball, but we got the big Mo on our side late, and it was all the difference in the world.
Gonna go back left.
Hey, Coach. Making the finals for the first time since 2019. Out of the last 176 points you scored in the last two games, 106 of them were in the paint. It's fair to say that you made your fair amount of layups. I just know that your job is safer now.
Yeah. Ask my boss back there. Ask my boss.
Next question, back right.
Okay. You mentioned DeWanna galvanizing this team. She mentioned kind of getting the team together after game 2. How pivotal was that? Were there certain things she helped smooth out? How would you describe that?
Yeah, and she won't want to be misquoted. She meant game 3, but yeah, she did say 2, but she meant game 3. I'm sorry, I lost the question now because I don't want her to be misquoted.
Sorry, I should have realized that was the case too. But she said, getting the team together after that, and I was just wondering what that did for you guys. Were there certain things she maybe helped smooth out? It sounded like.
More than anything, like I asked them to master the monotony, and they rolled their eyes because I'm a film freak, and you can't practice in this dang league. I mean, we've played now 8 playoff games, a 36-game schedule in a footprint that, the exception of Sue and Diana, no one in this league's ever played the kind of cadence of games we've had. Now we've played 44 games. So DeWanna basically said, we're not watching film today, and I want to talk to the team. I said, go for it. And I think it was probably the best decision because watching a half an hour more of Sloot and Quigley and Parker and there's only so many times that you can show it, but I'm a master of monotony. I think preparation's power. Preparation is our number one pillar. But in that moment, DB just having a heart-to-heart with our team is what they needed, and they've absolutely thrived off of it. I'm not privy to that, and nor do I want to be when it's player only.
All right, we're going to take some questions from the Zoom. Rafiq?
This is Rafiq with Nothing But That Sports Talk. Congratulations on reaching your second WNBA Finals in the past 4 years.
Thank you, Rafiq.
I just want to ask you, how are you embracing the fact that you get a chance to take on a Las Vegas Aces team that's been literally on fire this year's playoffs?
Rafiq, what was the question about Vegas? That I coached Becky Hammond in college?
Yeah, I was asking
how many times are we going to hear that now? What was the question, Rafiq? Sorry.
Just because
The question is, how are you embracing the fact that not only that you're back in the WNBA Finals for the first time since 2019, but you're going up against the Las Vegas Aces team that's completely deep and had an incredible playoff run up until this point?
Yeah, we're so excited. And tonight we're going to not think about Vegas yet. We'll wake up and start to prepare for Vegas. We have great respect for their individual talent. I have an unbelievable personal relationship with Becky that will probably be overplayed now for a week. But it's exciting, right? There'll be a new champion in this league. There'll be a first-time franchise champion. There'll be a new coach. Once again, that will be a first-time champion. And, that I'm really, really excited about the challenge. When the season ends, I join Team USA. I can't wait to see all those dang players that got videoed today and all pick Chicago. I'm going to remind them of that when I show up at Team USA. But, not very many people will pick us against Vegas either, and that's okay. We're going to prepare and try to make it a Connecticut Sun style of game.
And to follow up, you mentioned Connecticut Sun style game. You really made it a lot more than that when you held the Chicago Sky to only 5 points in the fourth quarter. Thoughts?
Yeah, that was the difference, Rafiq. Obviously, we were on the ropes, and it took that type of defensive quarter, a historic quarter against that type of team to advance to the finals.
Appreciate the insight. Good luck.
Thank you, Rafiq.
Eden?
Hi, you mentioned a couple different times your post play, and I was curious, what does like a practice look like for them in terms of preparing for a player like Candace Parker?
Yeah, they get to go. I have 3 all-star post players. I have that luxury. Not always easy to figure out how to keep them on the floor or get them on the floor together, but they get to practice against each other every day. JJ goes against Bree Jones every day. My player development coach is a former NBA player that gets to work with them every day. It's a really, really talented group, and that's not taking anything away from Joyner Holmes, who is a unicorn athlete. She is just a tremendous athlete. So we have when we get an opportunity to practice, when you have any kind of opportunity, there's great battles going on in practice amongst them.
Okay, we're gonna take the last 3 questions. Lila.
Hey, Curt, you spoke a little bit to, DB's leadership in that locker room. Just, she's been a veteran presence for you guys, for the last few seasons, obviously, but have you seen her kind of take even more of a step up this postseason with Jazz out?
At this time of the year, we lean on DB. She's our only player that's won a championship, and we really respect what she did in Phoenix in those times. And she has everybody's attention when she speaks because she's the one. And so you always feel her leadership at playoff time. That's what these veterans are still in the league to do, and it's their legacy that they're trying to forever etch in the WNBA. Every day, it seems like DB's moving past someone in the all-time ranks, and so when you heard Natisha say when she's spoken lately, she's been on point. And again, I don't even know a sliver of what she's saying, but I know how everybody's reacting to it.
And, she also mentioned, I know this was something you talked about towards the end of the regular season as well, just the team getting back to, having fun playing. I know you guys mentioned having talks about that, towards the end of the regular season. Just how have you seen that shift over the course of the series?
Yeah, it's important, and a player like JJ plays better when she's having fun. Courtney Williams is one of the most fun people to be around. She has an unbelievable personality. Every single day she walks in upbeat. Those guys play better when they're having fun, and then there's AT and I are wired competitive, and if you smile too much, are you focused? So we've got to check ourselves to make sure everybody's having fun. But this group certainly thrives on that, and that was the message on the board from the players to each other. That was the message from me. The last thing we said before we took the floor tonight. Have fun.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lila.
Last question, Jacqueline.
Hi, Curt. Earlier in the press conference, Natisha said after the game that the team's mindset was kind of that they're not folding anymore. Can you just kind of talk about how this group has dealt with adversity and throughout the whole season and what they've learned from that and how they've been able to just really channel all of that into tonight?
Yeah, everybody has stories across this league, but you know, the ability to overcome adversity with this group and to pivot, losing our leader and losing our point guard early in the season. We had players miss games with COVID. I missed games with COVID. My mom passed away and missed games. You know, it just seemed like one thing after another that we had adversity this season in and out of that locker room. And then you bring in a player and then you have another ACL injury. And so it just is remarkable that this group just refused to use it as excuses 3 seasons in a row where we've had a starter essentially miss the entire season. And we just refused to let it be our excuse that we were going to pivot and continue to keep working and grinding. And I'm so proud of them to fight their way back into the finals.
All right. Thanks, Curt. Thanks, everyone.
You sure? Did you have one last one? It was not. Okay.